Hey, my friend. Welcome back to the Cosmic Mystic. Danie C. Muniz here, inner work alchemist, cosmic mystic, and creator of the Sacred CEO framework designed to help you stay grounded, aligned, and abundant as you expand your impact. I'm so blessed and honored to be back here with you today for another Sidereal Astrology Forecast. This forecast is for the week of May 12th through the 18th. So we are diving into what is shifting in our sky this week in sidereal astrology. So grab your coffee, a protein shake, whatever it is that you're drinking, grab your notebook and let's get started. So, first off, if you did not know, if you're like, hey, I really want to see this, but I'm driving or I'm at the gym or whatever it might be, we do have a podcast version of this. You can go to thepeaceteacher.com/podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, go down into the description box and you can see a link there to the episode. If you are on the podcast and you're like, wait, what? Yes, there is a YouTube channel called The Cosmic Mystic. So you've got it on both platforms, my friend. If you want to see me, see the charts, come on over to YouTube. If you just want to hear me, then go on over to the podcast. The links to both are on all the things. And if you ever are in any doubt, just come on over to Instagram, DM me, or email me at Danie@thepeaceteacher.com, and I'll send you whatever you need, my friend. We got you. We got you. All right. Let's look. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do a state of the planets. My favorite way to start these videos is just kind of look at where is everybody as we kick off this week. What is going on? We do have some big shifts. So I do want to tell you, first off, we have a full moon this week, and we've got Jupiter changing the sign. So we're going to get into that, what that means, and how we can use all of that's happening in our sky right now. So first, to kick off, let's look at where all of our planets are. Right now, we've got our sun and Uranus hanging out together, and they are in different signs. So, Aries, our sun is in Aries still. It is in Aries for just a bit longer. We are going to move into Taurus season, my favorite season, because this Taurus is my sun sign. My birthday is at the end of the month. And so, I am so excited to enter Taurus season because Taurus season is just an amazing season. We get to slow things down here. So I can't wait to share all about Taurus in just a bit. We've got Uranus, who is already in Taurus at 2 degrees here, and they are just hanging out. They've been hanging out for a bit. We saw them come into conjunction on the 11th. And they're going to be conjunct all the way through June 14th. I'll talk about that in a second, but this is a little bit of a longer conjunction, which is stirring things up, my friend. We'll talk about that in a sec. Mercury is at 9 degrees Aries. We've got Chiron in Aries, which we talked about in our last week's forecast, as well as the May overview. If you did not know, there is a overview video that goes over all the things that are happening during the month, and you can get that around here somewhere. Go ahead and watch that after this, and you can get the whole overview or listen to it on the podcast. You'll see a link down in the description box for that May overview as well. All right, next we have Venus over here in Pisces. We've got Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces. Our North Node is in Pisces. We've got those guys still hanging out in Pisces just a bit longer. We've got Pluto over here in Taurus. Our moon kicks off this week in Libra with that opposition for our full moon. We've got our South Node over here in Virgo, and we've got Mars over here in Cancer for just a bit longer as well. And Jupiter, who we're going to talk about later, who is in Taurus at the beginning of this week, but will be moving into Gemini very, very soon. So let's dive into our sun and what is happening with our sun this week. So, first off, let me talk about a couple of conjunctions. I'm sorry, a couple of aspects that we're seeing, starting with the Sun and Uranus conjunction that we did talk about last week. That did start with Uranus here. And so when we see the Sun conjunct Uranus, whoo, this is where unexpected things could be coming up, my friend. There is a lot of freedom and rebellion. There's a lot of rebel energy that we see with Uranus. And so we could be seeing some of that being very, very conscious because of that Sun energy. There's just a really strong desire and urge to just break free from anything that is stagnant, mundane, routine. And it's like, I'm just tired of all of this and I want to do something different. And that is a huge, huge, huge pull for us to do something different. Pairing it with, as we're ending this Aries season, this is a real, like, I'm just gonna just go do it, right? So I want you to be mindful that you're wanting change, you're restless. It's like that feeling like I need to do something. You might see just as much as, again, we are always manifesting, my friend. We are always manifesting. I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again here. We are always manifesting. So the things, if you're like, I'm tired of this and I'm frustrated with this and I don't want this anymore, you are creating that. Okay. You are creating that. So there could be disruptions that happen when things like Uranus and the Sun come together that could be flipping some things up for us, right? That could cause some type of disruption because we've been asking for a change of some sort. So I want you to be mindful of that. Be mindful of taking too risky of things or doing something that's a little bit too risky, because you're definitely going to want to feel into, especially with this Aries energy at the very beginning here of this week, of just like, I'm just doing it, I'm just done, and you're done with something. Now that can be effective if there is, a belief you're moving out of, an old idea, something that you're just done with. Okay, great. If sometimes though we make decisions that maybe we need a little bit of forethought for, so I just want you to keep that in mind for yourself. All right, let's move on to the next thing. And that is our sextile over here to Saturn. So on the 13th, we're going to see a sextile over here with Saturn. So let me tell you about what that is. Anytime we are involving Saturn, there is always an energy of patience, discipline, working hard. Saturn is what, how do I say this? Saturn loves to show us our boundaries, show us our limitations, and to show us how to be patient and disciplined to achieve the thing that it is that we want. So there may be some slowing down of certain things that is requiring us more patience, more self-discipline. Our attention spans are getting less and less and less and less these days, and so this is really coming in here to slow you down and to just remind you to have some patience, to have some determination, that every setback that you might be feeling is an opportunity for you to overcome that. Saturn overrules the zodiac sign of Capricorn. And if you look at the symbol of Capricorn, it is the goat, the mountain goat. And if you've ever seen the mountain goats, they are so determined to get up the mountain, so determined to get there. And it's like it's going to be patient. It's going to allow itself the time to get to where it needs to get. And so I just want to bring this in here because there is a really big energy of hard work, dedication. You might feel like you're needing to work on more productive things. Some of the things that can come up that can be more challenging is like, you're not doing enough. You're not enough. Those are such big energies around Saturn that can also really pull us down. I am a Capricorn rising, so I understand Capricorn energy very, very well. And it can often pull us down and pull us back and make us feel not worthy enough or not good enough. And so I want to remind you here that that could be coming in. So just be mindful that, okay, I may be going through this period, which is only about 13 days or so. So it's just a couple weeks. I'm feeling this. I don't want to give up though. And that is going to be my biggest thing to you as my friend. Don't give up. What you desire is probably just one more step. All right, next up on the 16th, which will be Friday, we have the Sun and Neptune. So you'll see that Saturn is conjunct Neptune over here. And so we do see that sextile coming in with Neptune. Now, with Neptune, the energy is a little bit different. Neptune heightens our sensitivity, our intuition, our imagination, our creativity. And so our psychic awareness is really spot on right now. It is really helping us visualize, dream our future, our ideal future, what it is we want to manifest. And so I'm going to invite you during this period here, which is the 16th of May through the 28th of May, to really feel into, visualize your desires, what it is that you desire. And so there's a really good pairing here with the Saturn and the Neptune, because you're like, wait, Danie, this is telling me my limitations, but this is telling me to look at my dreams. Here's the beauty of this. In order for us to step into the thing that we desire, we need to know what that is, right? But oftentimes we have that doubt and that fear and that uncertainty. And so that's really great for us to be aware of what those limitations and beliefs are, to then shift them, reframe them, move through them into something that is more empowering, that will actually lead us into the desire, to the manifestation, to the thing that we want. So this is, if there are those thoughts, I shouldn't say if, when those thoughts come forward, write them down. If it's like, oh, I want to do this, and you've got that like, but write those things down and then see how you can reframe them to something that is more empowering. Now, when I say this, and let me stop my share so I can say this to you, be careful with your reframes that you're not going 0 to 60, right? I say this a lot with habits, with things that we like to go 0 to 60. 0 to 60 to me means you're going, let's say you have a belief that you are not beautiful, okay? You are not like those other girls. You are not like those other people. You are not as beautiful as some of those other people, right? And so you don't think you're beautiful. If you have thoughts of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not as pretty as them, I don't have the same features as they do, it's so easy for them, whatever those things, right? Beliefs are. If you try to start saying, I am beautiful, your mind is like, yeah, right. Nope. And it's automatically going to go to those other thoughts. So, what I would invite you to do is shift that reframe into something that is believable, right? I am curious about how I can love myself. I'm curious about my own beauty. I am learning to see the beauty in myself. Those are a lot different than saying I'm beautiful, because I'm beautiful. Your subconscious mind is just going to reject it. Your energy is going to reject it. And it's just going to keep reinforcing that same belief. We need to make new neural pathways to the new empowering belief, which is something you believe and that you are working towards. So, something to keep in mind with this Saturn and Neptune energies, that you can use these things, right, my friend? These are, first off, for us, for our awareness, like, oh, okay, I might be having these thoughts. And second, like, how do I now work with it? And that is a practical tool you can do over these next couple of weeks as those things may be coming up. All right, moving on to our next one, which is the Sun and Pluto, which comes in here on the 18th at the very end of the month. And then we're going to talk about the Sun in Taurus. You'll see down here that we have a Sun trine Pluto that comes in on the 18th, and this will be all the way through the end of the month on the 30th. Pluto is always deep and intense. Whenever we think of Pluto, I want you to think of deep and intense. Pluto brings that intensity to anything that we are doing. It's bringing that transformation energy, that death to that rebirth. And so it can feel there a lot of power here, a lot of overwhelming feelings of intensity here. This is a really good time because also Pluto is retrograde, is to allow yourself to notice. And I did a whole podcast episode on this, and I'll put a link in the description box and in the captions for you. But I did a whole podcast episode on power and control and how to shift those ideas so that they are empowering and we're not shying away from our own power and what we can and cannot control. So this is a really good time to look at that, to notice what is coming up around power and giving things power or allowing others to influence you in a way that may be disempowering you. This is also a really good time to do some deep shadow work, to do that deep soul work, to uncover, unearth things. You might also be interested in studying things like esoteric knowledge, the mysteries, astrology, any of those, more esoteric ideas. All right, let's get into the next one, which is our sun in Taurus. So our sun does move into Taurus here on the 14th and will be in Taurus until the 14th of June. So Taurus is a earth energy. And let me show you here when it moves, because it's going to move in the afternoon here at 2 p.m. Central Time. So the sun in Taurus is a grounded energy. It's an earth energy. Its element is earth. And so with Aries, we've been kind of running and going and going. With Taurus, we kind of settle down, we stop, and we smell the roses. This is ruled by the planet Venus. So we think art, beauty, love, money. Those are all the things that Venus rules over. And so during this period, there's an energy around what it is we value. So with Aries gone running and doing its thing, Taurus is like, okay, but what is it that I actually value? Now I've gone out and I've done some things, but what do I really value? What do I value? Personal values, my core values. If you haven't done anything around your values, if you've never elicited your values, if you don't know what your values are, and I'm saying beyond looking at a list and picking words, my friends, that is not how to elicit your core values. There's a really beautiful process that you can do. That I am going to do a workshop on that I will let you know when it's ready to sign up for it. But there is a really beautiful process you can do to go through to elicit your core values. My friend, it is really beautiful to see what it is that you actually value and not just I'm going to choose this word because I like this word or I want to believe that I value that, but actually seeing what it is you value. So that is something that you can work on during the season. The other is your relationship with the material world, with the 3D. And when I see that, I'm also talking about the tangible physical things in our world. What is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with the things that you possess in your home, right? The things that you wear, the material things in our world. You can also look at, are you putting material over spiritual, right? Is it looks over my connection to God, the divine, the universe? Is it having this thing, I need to go do this thing versus I need to sit and connect with God, divine source, right? Like universe, like what is your relationship? That's definitely something to look at here. This is such a beautiful season. I talk more about this in an upcoming podcast episode, as well as in our spring guidebook. So if you have not downloaded that spring guidebook, highly recommend you go and get that because it does talk about Taurus season, things that you can do for your self-mastery, personal growth, as well as things that you can do in business. We also have some prompts in there weekly journal prompts that you can do, and rituals that you can do over the season. So definitely go check that out at thepeaceteacher.com/guidebook. Again, all of that is down in our show notes and description. All right, next up, let's talk about our full moon. Let's talk about our full moon. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen once again, and we are going to go to Monday, the 12th at 11:57 a.m. All right, you will see our full moon here with the moon in Libra and the sun in Aries. So this is right at the edge of Aries before we transition into Taurus and before our moon moves out of Libra into Scorpio. So we are with a full moon in Libra. So I talk about this again in that guidebook. So I again definitely recommend that you download that guidebook, because I do have journal prompts for celebration and release for a full moon ceremony. So when we're talking about Libra and Aries, these are in opposite of each other. They're opposite zodiac signs. So Aries is about me. Libra is about we. Libra is about the partnership, and Aries is about self. And so both of those ideas are coming up into play as we are looking at this full moon, the me and the we. Okay. Now, when we dive in a little bit further, you might have seen that there were a couple of different aspects that we had. We had a trine to our north node, a sextile to our south node. We have the conjunction with the sun in Uranus, which is an opposition to the moon. And so the full moon, because it's connecting with our nodes, which is about our past and our future, we are looking at a calling towards our future, celebrating what is aligning on our path and releasing what doesn't, right? Because a full moon is about celebrating and releasing. So spring here, we're in spring season. We have not yet moved into summer. And so there is a harmonizing that is happening here between our bold initiatives with Aries and our call for harmony and peace with Libra. So this is a time for us to pause, for us to reflect, for us to celebrate and move energy through our body and out of our body that may be stuck or stagnant, that is not serving us well. So if we think of the ideas of me and we, where have I put we over me, or where have I put me over we? There is a balance, right? I'm the first one to tell you to be consciously selfish. I will tell you that every single day until I leave this plane. Consciously selfish. We always want to make sure we are taking care of ourselves first. Now, we want to make sure we are not doing that from a trauma response, right? Of, well, y'all have to figure it out because I'm going to do what I'm going to do, right? Not from that attitude, but in a way of like, this is the decision I've made and that's it, right? There's a very different energy from an attitude of like, well, y'all need to figure that out. You have to go, you do your thing over there, like in very much dismissive, but still but coming from a very powerful place of, this is the decision I made. You might not agree with it, but this is what's best for me, right? Very, very different energy. And so there could be some of that might be coming up. And so you might want or desire or are ready to release some of those old ideas of, you have to show up to certain things, or you have to do certain things, you have to say yes to certain things, and being able to let it go and be like, yeah, no, I don't need to do that, right? So there are some really great journal prompts, as I said, in the guide that you can look for that can really help you come up with some things and celebrate whatever it is that you're ready to celebrate with this full moon. All right, let's move into a couple other transits that I want to talk about, and that is our Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So let's talk about Mercury, Mars, and Venus. So we're going to start with Mercury here, and we are going to go to the ninth, which is where last week we talked about Mercury and Pluto. So this is going to fall off on the 15th this week. So I just want to remind you that with this, there's a lot of deep thinking, there's a lot of intense energy. And so you could have been feeling this over this past week of like, I've been thinking about a lot. I've really been doing some soul searching. I've heard a lot of people tell me this, my clients as well. Like, I've been doing some deep soul searching, Danie. And I'm like, yes, good. Keep going, keep going. The next one is Mercury and Mars, which comes in on the 13th here. We'll see Mercury and Mars making this square, and we're going to see this till the 21st. So about 8 days here. Mercury and Mars, because Mercury's communication and thinking, and Mars is more of that action, drive, motivation energy. There is a lot of irritability. It's a word that I struggle with there. Irritability and impulsive communication, which can sometimes be misunderstandings, can be arguments, confrontations. And so I want you to be aware of that, because there might be some egos wanting to assert themselves or be on the defense or prove their thing, right? Slow down, take a deep breath, and think before you speak. Mars is going to want to quickly respond, to quickly lead in survival and protection. So I just want you to be mindful of that, because you might come out maybe not as you intended. So I'm going to invite you to pause. I'm going to also invite you to make sure that you are journaling, that you are doing some breath work, that you are going to the gym, however you like to move energy through you, to release things so that they're not within your field. It's one of the reasons why I do somatic breath work. It's one of the reasons why I became a somatic breath work practitioner, to help people move the energy through them. It's such a beautiful way to do it. Journaling is another really beautiful way to do it. I journal every single day. So my friend, move it out of you so that you're not in this aggressiveness. And then finally, with Venus, we are going to go to Venus is a sextile to Pluto that is going to fall off this week. And so we've had this energy right here with Pluto since the end of April. And so on April 14th, we're going to see this fall off. And so this is where the intensity for love, for companionship has been pretty deep. You might have been becoming obsessed with someone or something. Relationships, you might have gone deeper. There might have been some evolution, or there might have been some pushing away because things were coming out, secrets were coming out that maybe are not serving the relationship. Affairs was also a really big possibility here. And so this is all kind of coming to the end right now. And so I just want you to kind of give you that heads up. All right. The last thing that I want to share with you today as we wrap up is the Jupiter moving into Gemini. So Jupiter changes signs every year to year and a half, depending on if it's retrograde and its actual retrograde journey. So this year, we have Jupiter moving into Gemini, as we can see right here. I was just trying to get it for you to see when it transitions over. But it's going to transition over on the 14th. There we go. Right there. You can see it moved over into Gemini. So Jupiter in Taurus has really shifted things for us around our money, finances, right? We've seen a lot with AI coming out. Even though Jupiter doesn't rule over technology, we did see some of that emergence with some of the things that Uranus was doing. Jupiter, though, has really brought like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency kind of ideas forward, because Taurus does rule over money. We've also seen a big shift in people standing up for and showing what it is that they value, what it is that's important to you. I don't know how many times I've heard people in this past year talk about their values, and they're going to do things based on their values. And it's really interesting to me because Jupiter always expands what's ever there. And it is a big growth energy. It's like a go big or go home type vibe here. So when we see it shift into Gemini, there's a couple of things, right? Gemini is a very curious energy. It is very communicative. It loves to share information, learn information. It is in the pursuit of knowledge. It wants to know things. So this is a really great time to expand your own skill set. You might be looking to learn some new things, to gain some new knowledge. So for those of you that are in business that is sharing knowledge, here we go. Here we go, because people are going to be looking for knowledge. The other thing is networking, places where you can connect with other people, where you can share information is going to be really big. And one of the things that I'm really feeling a shift towards, and I've felt into this and I've asked in the Akashic Records, is we are going to have a big shift into in-person events, in-person gatherings. People are ready to get together. We've been so deprived, right, of connecting in person. And yes, let me tell you, my friend, it's really easy to hop on Zoom and to have a meeting with somebody. There is just something different. I was blessed to go to in-person events last year, and there is just something different about being in the same room with people. And so I just want to kind of put that out there. If you are in business and you do teach, you do have knowledge, or you have an opportunity to create events where people can come together and connect, this is going to be a really powerful shift back to that in this next year, 2025 to 2026. Now, there's also an abundance of opportunities and information overload that is also possible here too, that I want to bring to your attention, because you could be seeking so much information and just gathering, and not actually taking action. This is one of the concerns that I have with Jupiter and Gemini, is that we're learning and not taking action. So for me, I'm a big believer in, like, okay, what is the action you're going to take? What is the one thing you're going to do now that you have this information? And so that, my friend, I think is a real something really to be connected with. Prioritizing what is important and what is not is also going to be really important, because you're going to have all these ideas, you're going to have all these things. Trust me, I know I get downloads in the Akashic Records all the time, and it's like, when do I do this, right? When is the right time to do this? Because I want to do all the things right now. We'll also see some advancement in technology, in media, for sure. The way that we share and consume information is going to shift and expand and grow. I'm going to say it, AI is going to blow up even more. We've already seen it blow up quite a bit in the past year or so. We're going to see it rapidly increase. So if you aren't, whether you agree with AI or not, my friend, I'm telling you, there is something about knowing your enemy. And I don't really mean to say it that way, but that's the only way that I can say it, is sometimes we need to learn what our enemy is and how to work with it. I don't see AI as an enemy, personally speaking. So I do work with it. I am learning it. I do want to learn about it and how it works. And I also want to be part of the collective energy that is feeding it information that I think is valuable to the entire collective, right? Because it is grabbing information from the collective. So if only a certain portion of the population is giving it information, then it's only going to have that information. And so I want to make sure that we're getting all the information in there. And so that, my friend, is what I would say for you about technology advancing, especially with AI. There's also I would say, my friend, to make sure that you're grounding your energy. Gemini is an air sign. And so there's lots of mental energy that seems to happen, things like blowing with the wind, right? And you can feel like a leaf just gets blown in the wind. It always makes me think of Forrest Gump at the end of the movie with, with the leaf just going, right? And that can definitely what it feels like in the air energy. And so grounding strategies are going to be huge here. So decision making, grounding is going to be huge. Being able to filter what is important, what is not important, what is now, what is later is going to be really, really important. The other thing here is communication. So working with your throat chakra. For those of you that may be blocked, that may not feel comfortable sharing your voice, this is also a really good time to work through that, work with your throat chakra, work with your bodies in order to feel comfortable to share your unique perspective, your voice, and what it is that you have to say. All right, my friend, that is our Sidereal Astrology Forecast for the week of May 12th through the 18th. I hope you have taken something away from this video. If you have, I want to know. Let me know in the comments what is one thing you are taking away from this video. Until next time, my friend, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to follow along for all the things that are coming up because we've got a lot coming, my friend. Let me just tell you that. And until next time, remember to keep shining your unique light.